Back with another video for you today. We are doing another house overview video. This time we're talking about MALBRUM Parfums. Are you guys familiar with this house? We've got 7 fragrances to talk about for you. Find out all about them coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian and I've got Joe here.
Hello, hello.
Are you familiar with this house?
Yeah, I am. After you introduced them to me, yes.
Okay.
I didn't actually stumble upon them on my own terms, but after I was introduced and smelled and experienced some of the fragrances, I've taken a liking to it, yeah.
Yeah, they have some good work, right?
They do, yeah.
Yeah, they are also Extrait de Parfum concentration, and they come in 30 ml bottles, and some of them are really great. And we're going to rank the list of fragrances afterwards as well, as we usually do. But just to let you know, I have a stack of cheat sheets here, because a lot of the fragrances have synthetic notes that we didn't know anything about. So I took notes down and I'm going to read them to you so you guys can get an idea of what some of the notes are. But the first fragrance we're going to talk about, we're doing it in alphabetical order. We're going to talk about BAGHEERA first.
BAGHEERA.
So BAGHEERA is a fragrance created by Delphine Thierry. It's suede, leather, Papyrus, Blackberries, black currant bud, cedarwood, black violet, velvety iris, truffle accord, Ambreconide, Vetimoss, Ionol alpha, Norlimbanol, Suederal. So those are those synthetic notes that we mentioned earlier, earlier. So you spray, but I'm going to read them the synthetic notes. So Ambreconide is a powerful amber woody odor profile from Simrise. Vetimoss is a powerful aroma chemical with a medium odor impact. Has forest, damp wood, vegetation, potato perfume nuances notes, and can last up to 72 hours on a scent strip. Ionol alpha, elegant violet vetiver note for mellow ionon effect with woody cedar undertones. Norlimbanol, extremely powerful woody and animal amber note. Suederal, made by IFF. This is a powerful leather base that gives a very accurate reproduction of suede and leather. Are we getting all this stuff in this fragrance?
Yeah, I'd say so. The potato one, that threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, potatoes, huh?
Kind of, I mean, I know that it's after you mention it, but maybe a little bit, right?
Yeah, but to me this is absolutely one of the best from this house. The leather is so delicious, very smooth, buttery.
Oh yeah.
Smooth buttery is what comes to mind. It's not, I don't know, I'm not getting animalic with this one. There's a sweetness about it, but it's super delicious.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a fruitier leather. The mention of Animalic doesn't necessarily come through. I know that there's a lot of other leathers out there that are far more animalic than this, but yeah, that leather mixing together with that iris and then the currant and the fruits just kind of popping a little bit. It's really a really nice fragrance.
Yeah.
And I also get the violet as well.
Yeah.
I get a violet vibe for sure.
Yeah, violet and leather. Remember BDK's Vanilla Leather that came out? That's also violet leather vanilla. This does have a little bit of a vanillic effect here. Doesn't mention that it has vanilla, but I'm kind of getting a similar vibe. But this is a lot more potent and definitely goes in a different direction because it's not as vanillic as BDK's Vanilla Leather, but kind of a similar idea with the violets.
For
Absolutely
sure.
Love that one.
It's a good fragrance. Yeah, real
definitely
nice.
wears great on me as well. Perfect in the winter time. Yeah, I think that might be my number 1, but we'll find out when we see the list.
We will find out.
All right, next up we've got GODSPEED, created by Cristiano Canali. Most of the fragrances are either created by Delphine Thierry or Cristiano Canali. I actually personally know Cristiano Canali. This fragrance has notes of black pepper, incense, Virginia cedar, Norlimbanol, Carnation, Oakmoss, Ambroxan, pink pepper, Cypriol, Ambreconide, and Cashmeran. And once again, we've got a list of notes to read to you about.
Oh, yeah.
Norlimbanol, extremely powerful woody and animal amber note. Ambroxan, everybody knows this one. It's long-lasting ambery, velvety ingredient. Could be a fragrance on its own. It is actually eccentric molecules, molecule 2. It's woody, musky, salty, smooth, ambery, powdery, and dry skin musk. And then finally, Ambreconide, powerful amber woody odor profile from Simrise, which we already discussed with the last fragrance. So what are your thoughts on GODSPEED?
It's not super exciting for me. It's definitely spicy. It's got that peppery zing, or not zing, but it has that pepperiness, I'll say. It's got that smokiness. It is resinous and a little bit balsamic, but nothing really stands out and takes over for me. And it doesn't really assert itself as like, wear me, you know?
Yeah, and to me, this unfortunately is one of my least favorite ones. And I've mentioned many times, this has a prominent black pepper incense note. Those are not two of my favorite notes. Black pepper and incense also trick me with the smell. They kind of smell similar.
For sure.
So they're prominent and standing out. And then also the fact that it's woods, it kind of doesn't go anywhere for me. So sadly, this is a little bit of a disappointing fragrance. Sorry, Cristiano Canali. I enjoy your bee from Zoologist Perfumes a lot more than this one. But
yeah, bee's lovely.
Yeah, bee's lovely. But this is kind of a boring fragrance for me, unfortunately. It's not the type of fragrance I prefer. And obviously, it sounds like you don't prefer this kind of a fragrance either.
Not necessarily. And it's not
a bad fragrance.
A bad fragrance at all. It's just, like I said, it's not telling me to wear it.
Yeah, it's not saying come wear me, wear me.
Yeah.
It's black pepper and incense mostly, and woods. So, bummer. All right, up next we've got Here Comes the Sun. Same perfumer again, Cristiano Canali, which is actually for me much better than the last fragrance. I actually think this is one of my top 3 from the house. It features notes of javanol, ambrette seeds, sandalwood, orange blossom, benzoin, muscone, labdanum, tobacco, absolute, orris butter, bergamot, spearumbrine. So I'm going to read you the names of the notes once again. So javanol is used as a one only note in the fragrance Molecule 4 by Centric Molecule, and it's a synthetic sandalwood. I lost my train of thought. So javanol, sandalwood molecule that is powerful. Muscone, a very soft, sweet, musky odor with a warm animalic tonality, reminiscent of the natural musk tonkin. The Tonkin musk deer is considered to be the best and rarest species of musk deer that produce musk grains. This amazing perfume has a very complex profile. It has sweet top notes, followed closely by the strong, deep, animalistic notes of the top quality musk. And then finally, spearumbrine. Blends well with sparkling green, spicy, and aldehydic top notes. It is an interesting complement in woody accords for providing a diffusive amber effect. So what do you think about this one?
I'm starting to realize that a lot of these fragrances have a list of notes, and then within those notes, there's another list of notes. So they're just like extremely complex fragrances. And there's a lot to smell here, and I think it's a very great fragrance, even from a house like this, which has quite a few good creations.
Yeah.
I think this one stands out a lot. It's got that creamy, milky, lactonic sandalwood vibe that you definitely do find in Molecule 4.
Yeah.
It has that soft milkiness to it.
I agree, yeah.
But there's more in here, I think. The tobacco comes out, so it adds a bit of like a, not an ashiness, but like a warm, leafy tobacco for me. And it's really good.
To me also, there's this weird effect that it's giving me of a amber fougere. There's like a barbershop effect in there, and I'm not necessarily seeing lavender. I'm not necessarily seeing tonka. Something in there, the way it's blended, comes off like that. But javanol for me is one of my favorite synthetic notes. Absolutely love it. And you do to me it smells realistic like sandalwood. Like it's very creamy, milky. And then with the ambrette seeds, little boozy, musky, powdery, and also fruity in here. This is a great fragrance. And by the way, also, it's Here Comes the Sun with an O-N, not a U-N. So
good job, yeah.
It's a sun. So that's why I'm thinking Here Comes the Sun, meaning referring to a son, a boy. Maybe that's why I'm getting fougere vibes. Maybe it's time for him to start, shaving and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that really, maybe subconsciously or something. I don't know. But
totally.
Yeah. But it's a good one.
It's a really good one. That orris butter also just kind of buffers that creamy aspect and just yeah, really just ups the ante on the creaminess.
I agree. But what do we think about the spearumbrine? This is the first time I've seen this note come up.
I wasn't getting an aldehydic vibe, maybe a bit of an aromatic vibe and like a greenness, but the aldehydic soapy vibe was not coming through for me. But like I said, I feel like these fragrances have notes, and then within the notes there's other notes, and it kind of just like goes down and down. So if you really wanted to just try to depict these fragrances, it could be like a fun activity.
I think so. But
Yeah.
just keep in mind, Spear Ambrine blends well with sparkling, green, spicy, and aldehydic top
Oh.
notes. It's an interesting complement in woody accords for providing a diffusive ambery effect.
I heard that
We're
wrong.
definitely getting an ambery effect here.
Yeah.
For sure.
I heard that wrong. I thought that Spear Ambrine was aldehydic, green, and spicy. So, yeah.
That's
And
why I wanted to correct you
thank
there.
you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
All right, next up we've got Paradiso Super. And this Paradiso Super is also created by Cristiano Canali. This is also one of my favorites, but it's somewhere in the middle for me. Saturn Peach, Fig Milk, Solar Notes, Tonka Beans, Freesia, Jasmine Sambac, Cedar, and Ambreconide. So I'm going to go ahead and read to you the Ambreconide info. It's a macrocyclic musk with an exceptional diffusion and a very fine character is what it says for this particular fragrance. I get it.
I get it too.
Yeah. To me, this is a very milky, almost like peach milk is what I get with this one.
A little peach up there.
It's very fresh with the peach, but super delicious.
Really, really nice. It's like you said, it's fresh. I get a very clean, milky experience. I see like almost a bedtime scent with this fragrance.
There's a cozy factor about it.
For sure. I'm assuming it's coming from that fig milk. And then peach also sometimes, depending on what kind of peach you're using or what kind of aroma chemicals you're using, I'm assuming that that could definitely go in a creamy direction. But for me, really nice. The white florals and the milkiness all kind of combines together. And then like that soft fruitiness. It's not uber sweet, but...
It's not uber sweet. It's also not tart.
Yeah.
It's just a nice balance, like enough tartness and sweetness.
Yeah.
But I don't generally like peach in fragrances. I actually really like this one for some strange reason. It's probably the one of the most accessible fragrances out of the collection. It's easy to wear because it's got these very easy to wear notes.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
For sure.
But definitely a good one for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree. Paradiso Super paradise with all the peaches in the world.
Oh, yeah. It's like you're in a peach oasis.
Okay, so we are moving back to Delphine Thierry as a perfumer for the fragrances. We've got Psychotrope next. And Psychotrope is definitely one of the better ones of the bunch. It's styrax, sandalwood incense, cypress, gurgeon balsam, saffron, pimento berries, elemi, ambergris, cedar, cashmeran, ambrinol, sandal Mysore core, timber silk. So this has been a very educational video for me to look up all these strange notes. So we've got cashmeran. I've spoken about cashmeran quite a bit. It's a synthetic musk commonly used in perfume development to impart a warm, woody, and musky scent profile with floral and spicy touches. Ambrinol, a very strong and powerful note with a natural ambergris odor. Sandal Mysore core has more powerful and diffusive odor than natural sandalwood Mysore. It also has a sweet, woody, and very tenacious odor. And then finally, timber silk, otherwise known as ISO E Super. So it's basically cedar sandalwood combo that's very widely used in fragrances.
Yeah.
So you like this one, right?
Love this one. This one, when Sebastian first gave me a couple samples from this house, this one just stood out and immediately caught my nose. It's very nutty for me at the very opening.
There's nuttiness for sure.
And it kind of cleans up a little bit once it goes down, but it starts off almost gourmandish. There's a creamy nuttiness. The incense, I don't necessarily get too much smokiness from it. And I also don't get that much of a dry experience, which usually incense
This is more buttery, not necessarily creamy.
Yeah. Oh,
there is a resinous, buttery texture about this one. That's really super delicious. I think we're getting the gurgeon balsam. This is balsamic characteristic here. And even though he said that he doesn't get the incense, I get more of the resinous variety of the incense rather than the smoke. Almost like frankincense or olibanum coming to mind.
I get that.
But it's very ambery. The texture is great. Very creamy as well with the sandal Mysore core. And then, of course, lots of woods. It's just a really nicely done fragrance.
Also, they have a fun little pattern on the back of the bottle.
Well, that's cool.
Ain't that fun?
Is that for like an animal?
It looks like it would be, right?
Animal print?
It looks like it. Sure.
Is it an animalistic fragrance? Not to me.
No, I don't get Animalic from it either.
No.
No.
But this is definitely one of the best.
Really lovely.
And the last two fragrances, we don't have any additional notes information, but we have Shameless Seducer next. We've got another fragrance here by Delphine Terry, and it features notes of cumin, musk, aldehydes, iris, ambrette, mimosa, civet, and citruses. This is Shameless Seducer with this S backwards.
And a period. Dot.
Anyway.
There we go.
What do you think of this one?
This one, it threw me off a bit when I first experienced it. I was really getting the civet on the dry down. And I wasn't really getting it too much on the opening, but as it dried down on my hand, I was really starting to pick something up. There was a funk arising from the ashes, if you will. But there was a funk that was coming out of it after it started drying down and after the fragrance developed more on skin. Not necessarily something I pick up off the card so much, but it might be something with my own chemistry, but lo and behold, it does have civet in it, and it does have that cumin note, so it also could have attributed to the funk I was getting. But overall, it's an interesting fragrance, however, not something that I necessarily enjoy too much.
This one is not ranked the lowest, but it's kind of ranked low, but I don't know, there's something vintage about this fragrance that I quite like, but next to the other fragrances, I enjoy the others better. The cumin, the civet, the aldehydes, and mimosa gives me a very vintage vibe. And also a fragrance that kind of stylistically leans feminine than masculine. Here, it's in a masculine form, but with those notes, I think of like the 80s powerhouse fragrances for the ladies. It's good. I mean, I like the animalic parts about it, but it's sadly ranked a little low, but I don't think it's a bad fragrance.
Kind of smells like sex. Like,
there is a sex about it. Yeah, maybe that's what the S stands for.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it goes in stride with the name Shameless Seducer, but yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because back then in the 80s, 70s, they were using these notes quite a bit. Cumin, civet, aldehydes, mimosa.
Oh yeah.
I think it's nicely done.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For what they were going for, I think they executed well.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we have a fragrance called Wildfire. And Wildfire is also created by Delphine Terry. We've got cloves, black pepper, pink pepper, incense, costus, pimento, amber, patchouli, vanilla, nutmeg, and spicy mint. So what do you think about this one?
Off initial wearing of this fragrance, I immediately thought of Ben Fumé, and then
it does have that kind of a vibe.
Yeah, which it's there, but after I wore it more and more, I started getting the clove, which isn't necessarily. I don't believe it's in a Ben Fumé.
No, we don't. No, I don't think there's
not really. There's not a cloviness, but
this one definitely has a cloviness.
It's got a cloviness for sure. It's like a wall of cloves. It's again kind of like what was the one fragrance?
Godspeed.
Godspeed. Yeah, thank you. It's not done poorly. It's just not telling me to wear it, and for that reason, I have it ranked a little bit lower. But not bad. It's that black pepper incense again, though.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing I was going to say here. Once again, we've got black pepper, pink pepper, and incense together. They're not so exciting notes. I love cloves in fragrances, and I love the amber, patchouli, vanilla, and those types of notes. But to me, it wears very fiery, smoky, incensey, resinous. And it's not so exciting, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But some people, I know there'll be an audience for this, and
for sure
people will like it. And I'm not saying it's done bad. I'm just not appreciating it.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, we are now going to rank the list of MALBRUM Parfums fragrances for you. But before I do that, if you are curious to discover this house, please go visit Max Aroma. They have the fragrances there. But I'm putting at number 7 Godspeed.
There you are. And I agree. That's my number 7 as well.
Yeah, there's something about this one I don't care for it. It seems, I don't know, peppery, spicy, incensey.
I think if they added a sweet touch, it could be a little bit more special, maybe.
I get sweetness from that, though.
I don't get too much of a sweetness. It might just be the incense and the pepper just taking over and just kind of drowning everything else out, possibly.
Okay.
That might be what's happening to me. But, yeah.
There's something also mass appealing about that one. I've smelled designer fragrances that kind of seem similar to that. And there's not much excitement for me on that one. So Godspeed is at number 7.
Yeah. And then number 6, I think we agreed on this one as well. We got Wildfire.
Wildfire at number 6, yes.
Kind of in a similar ballpark with that black pepper incense thing like we were talking about during the video. Ebenfume a little bit, adding clove.
Yeah.
And
again, the pink pepper, black pepper, incense combo is a bit boring for me. And there's not much excitement.
It did come out before Ebenfume, though, which Sebastian told me about. So by no means did they copy Ebenfume or anything. Like, it's definitely its own creation.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, just again, kind of fell short. And it's like a woody, smoky, ambery fragrance that I feel like I've smelled quite a few times.
Are you a fan of Ebenfume?
I do like Ebenfume, yeah.
Do you like this one more or Ebenfume more?
I'll have to say I like Ebenfume more.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it that you like about Ebenfume?
I like that rose note in it.
Okay.
It kind of juxtaposes the fragrance a little bit, adds that floral nuance that it's a little bit nicer in my opinion.
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not a big fan of Ebenfume or this one.
Oh.
So not my type of fragrance, I guess.
Just not your thing.
All right. Next up, it's Shameless Seducer.
Yeah.
Is that yours too?
Yeah.
So are we agreeing now?
We are agreeing.
Okay. So Shameless Seducer, I could have moved it up. For me, it wasn't really that bad, but when you're ranking them against the others, it ended up here. But I think, like I said, it has a kind of a vintage style, but more feminine-leaning fragrances. I don't know what it is about that fragrance. I keep visualizing really like potent fragrances for the ladies from the 80s, like Poison and things like that, which utilize a lot of different kind of animalic notes and spices and things like that.
Baldessai? Or Valdessai?
Oh,
which one am I talking about?
Balaversai?
Balaversai, thank you.
But that one goes back to the 60s.
That goes back even further, yeah. Stand corrected.
No worries, no, but I can see that. But this, that's the kind of fragrance this is. It's not necessarily also as ambery as Balaversai, but similar idea.
Yeah, and I mean, it's my number 5 as well, so I'm in agreement with Sebastian here, but it's just, I mean, it's very niche, and I love niche perfumery, don't get me wrong, but this one is just a little bit different. Like, it's a bit too different for my liking, and they were doing something, and I see what they were trying to do, and I appreciate them for trying to do it, and I think they did it well, but it's just not something I'd reach for.
Do you think it's very niche? Because I've been saying that it reminds me of 80s ladies fragrances.
I feel as though, given the fact that I've been raised in a generation where that style of perfumery wasn't really prominent, I feel as though it's definitely a bit more of a niche.
Okay, I get you.
You know, it just hasn't been the thing for a little while. And
I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my number 4 is Paradiso Super. What is?
Mine's Bagheera.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is yummy.
It is.
It's yummy, but the other 3 I prefer more. I could see myself wearing this in the summertime. And even though it says figs, did it say figs or fig milk?
Fig milk, yeah.
So I feel like also we get the fig leaves a little bit. There's something green running throughout it, but super juicy and milky, creamy. Absolutely delicious.
It is quite a tasty fragrance. And like I said, my number 4 is Bagheera. That violet with the leather. Really, really nice. And the top 4 were far more difficult for me to rank than the bottom 3.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
It was a bit more of a neck and neck competition once we got to the 4th. But I've smelled a lot of leathers. I have a lot of leathers in my collection. I think it's really great, and I would add it. But compared to the other fragrances in this line, I'm going to have to put it at number 4. Not because it's a bad fragrance, but just because the other 3 I would rank it are a little bit more interesting to me. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Next up for me at number 3, it's Here Comes the Sun. For some reason, I think that sounds like a name of a song. I don't know why.
Here comes the sun. It's a Beatles song, yeah.
There is a song called.
Yeah.
So interesting. This one reminds me a little bit of a fougere. Like I'm getting a warm amber fougere type vibe. I don't know why. But in the end, I think this is really, really nicely done. The Javanol, the ambrette seeds in here, top notch. It's musky, it's creamy, it's woody. And wherever I'm getting this kind of aromatic like notes of lavender or maybe geranium, something in there to remind me of something that's a bit more warm and barbershop like fougere. I like that about it.
Well, this one had spearmbrine in it, and they say that spearmbrine was the ambery note that works well with soapy, like aldehydic and green.
Yeah.
So they might have thrown in some light aldehydes that they just didn't accredit, and that might be attributing to like the soapiness. I'm really diving into it, like the soapiness from lavender, possibly.
Anything is possible, and the nose does play tricks on me.
Yeah.
So
I'm breaking it down too much right now.
What's your 3?
My number 3 is Paradiso Super.
Okay.
This one, at least for me, from what I've experienced from Swedish perfumery, like a Byredo house, they usually are in a little bit more of like a minimalistic style. This one is a bit more minimalistic, but I love it. I think it's done so well. That fig milk and the authentic smelling peach just comes out, and definitely would wear it as a bedtime scent for sure. It's got that clean coziness to it, but also day to day even. I think really well done with Paradiso Super.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of what he said, like I said, I don't really care for peachy fragrances much, but that is one of the best peachy fragrances that I've ever smelled.
Yeah.
Recently, I had a sniff session client come in. She was looking for peachy fragrances. I wish I had known about that one.
Oh, you didn't have
to
it?
offer it to her, because she was looking for a holy grail peach fragrance.
She would have loved that.
I think she would have. Yeah, because she also likes these milky fragrances as well.
Got to get her back in here.
Yeah, we gotta. Like, that's like totally in her
Ballpark.
wheelhouse. So anyway,
Real good.
So my number 2 is BAGHEERA.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely love BAGHEERA because of the violet leather combo. And I was mentioning the vanilla leather from BDK. This is kind of sort of in that style. Also, violet shot from Olfactus Studio, once again. And then also reminding me of fragrances from yesteryear. That's violet forward with leather. And that's what I get with this one. It's really super intense, long-lasting, and smells intoxicating. And it's a great leather to wear, has light gourmand touches. It's sweet, not animalic whatsoever. So I really love BAGHEERA.
Now that you're mentioning from yesteryear, it's kind of given that like Fahrenheit portrayal Amouage vibe. I get that, the violet leather combination. I didn't even smell that at first, but now I'm kind of picking that up.
It's weird. Sometimes people mention things or you read things about them and then you finally pick them up, but then you can't really pick them up. But
sometimes your nose has to be told what to look for, and then it figures it out, and it's like, oh, wait, there it is. Yeah.
No, BAGHEERA is good.
Really
it's
good.
Really my number 2.
And number 1, what do you got?
Is that your number 2?
Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. No, sorry. My number 2 is Here Comes the Sun.
Okay.
Really, really great. I'm skipping ahead. I gotta slow down a bit. But yeah, Here Comes the Sun it's got that Javanol that we mentioned before when we were kind of doing our study session on the different aroma chemicals and everything. But really great sandalwood. Very, again, authentic, kind of like the authentic scent of the peach in Paradiso Super. Very authentic smelling sandalwood. Creamy, lactonic, everything I want from a good sandalwood fragrance. I think it's just lovely.
Yeah, one last thing I do want to mention about Here Comes the Sun. Do you get mass appealing from that?
Yeah.
Is it because I'm reminded of a fougere, and I feel like it's something that a lot of people would enjoy, and it's more mass appealing than some of the other fragrances from this house that are a bit more edgy.
Yeah, I definitely could see that being an everyday wear type fragrance for somebody. And
okay.
It's an all season type thing, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of noses that are offended by it.
Okay.
Which, I mean, you don't have to always be super outside of the box with your fragrances. You could have a good, sturdy fragrance that people just enjoy. Mm-hmm. That's one of those. It's really great.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and my number 1 is, I think you're number 1 too.
Psychotrope.
Psychotrope.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is quite a wonderful offering.
Really nice. There you are. Gonna take a moment.
No, yeah, the resins, the sandalwood, the incense, all of the notes, the balsamic notes, the ambery notes, the musky notes. There's all kinds of things. It's spicy, it's warm, resinous, woody. There's some light smoky touches. It's sweet, amber, it's like a nice balance of everything. One of the best from this house. I had a hard time picking Psychotrope at number 1 or BAGHEERA at number 1. I decided to go with Psychotrope because it's my kind of fragrance. Really enjoy leathers. I enjoy quite a bit, and BAGHEERA is leather, but for me, I would wear Psychotrope over BAGHEERA.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Really lovely, and I mentioned earlier that I didn't necessarily get that incensey vibe from it. As it does dry down, it morphs for sure. It's not linear, and the incense does come out more. The nuttiness subsides a bit from the heliotrope, and then a little bit more of that smoky woodsiness comes out. And yeah, overall, definitely my number one. I mentioned when I first got the samples that Sebastian gave me, that one just stood out, and it still does.
Yeah, and then he's talking about nutty, and I am getting nutty as well, but not very distinct. There's definitely, for me, I'm getting something more chestnutty.
Okay.
The texture of the fragrance and how the chestnut texture is.
Totally.
So and it's not like a peanut or almond or
No.
macadamia or hazelnut or something. It doesn't have that characteristic for me, because it's the resinous characteristic or touch or feel when you're wearing it. I'm experiencing more of a chestnut like vibe.
Kind of a rich nuttiness almost.
Yeah, it's rich and it's kind of
Yeah.
meaty, fleshy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that fully. Yeah.
Anyway, Psychotrope number 1.
Indeed.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you're curious to discover these fragrances, please head over to Max Aroma. I have it linked in the info box. You can go check out each fragrance that I've linked. But other than that, I appreciate you coming by.
Always a pleasure.
And guys, if you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.
See you guys.